All right, here we are in my living room. True to the channel's name, No Garage Garage. We are not in a garage. So I just I laid everything out here so we can kind of go over the plan for the car. You can see what I've got and voice your opinions or trash my decisions. We shall see. But anyway, we're gonna go over what we've got. So I guess we'll start the intake manifold. So it's a factory 94, 95 Cobra intake manifold. These feel pretty good. I think everybody kind of knows it's the same. It's a GT40 intake manifold, so it's pretty much the same as the GT40 tubular or a Ford Explorer 5-liter intake manifold. They all pretty much flow the same. Good street manifold, good for low end torque, and more importantly, it has the elbow that faces the proper way for an SN95. You don't have to have the adapter or anything like that. And personally, I just think they look really nice. Right now, I haven't disassembled the lower. It's still got the 19-pound injectors in there, and I got to disassemble it and clean it up. And we put in those pink injectors in it. Those are the 24-pound injectors. We're stepping up from the 19s to 24, which is maybe not a necessity, but from my research, it would seem that 19-pound injectors with this setup would be taxed a little too much. They'd be running at too high of a capacity. Apparently, you want your injectors to be running at something like 80% capacity, and yeah, the 19 pounders would be stressed a little bit. You could run them. People do. People run 19-pound injectors with 350 up to 400 horsepower, and it works. But the injectors are definitely over their design limitations, really. So I've stepped up to 24s. We got the Mass Air, which is a 75 mil tuned, calibrated 424-pound injectors and a Fender Cold Air, which is here. We got the BBK Fender Well Cold Air kit, which it's pretty much the only one available that's decent. There are some cheapo ones you can get, but I don't know. I just opted for this one. Chrome is not my thing, and it is very chromed and bright, but it is what it is. That's the one we're using. Where to next? We got new lifters. Those are Trick Flow units, pretty much factory replacement, but made by Trick Flow. I don't even know if they're made by Trick Flow. A lot of people say these lifters are kind of all made by one company, and whatever company box they put them into, they're pretty much all the same. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I opted for the Trick Flow ones. New timing chain, which is a Ford Racing unit, which came with the camshaft thrust plate there, brand new one. We'll skip over the camshafts because we'll get back to that in a minute. We got Crane 1.6 rockers, full roller rockers. These are pedestal mount, bolt down rockers, and man, Crane doesn't exist anymore as a company. They've folded. So I mean these are old, but they have very little wear. I don't even know if they were used. If they were used for a very short time because they look brand new. And seriously. Heads. They're AFR, Renegade, CNC intake and cylinder ports. Combustion chambers are CNC'd, and the intakes, as you can see, these are, did I say the 165 intake runner heads, full emissions. We're keeping full emissions on this car. It's one of the goals in my little build is we're going to have it be completely emissions legal. It will not be a grievous polluter anymore. Right now the car's got off-road exhaust, but we're going to be putting cats back on it. That's probably going to get a lot of hate right there. We got BBK shorties. Head gaskets we'll be using 1011s from Felpro. Those are recommended by AFR. ARP head studs. So we're going with studs there. Just decided to go with that over bolts. We got reducer washers. Those are a necessity. AFR designs these heads to be usable on a 351 Windsor as well. So you need the reducer washers for the smaller bolts on a 5-liter. The springs are made by Pack Racing. AFR says they're good up to 600 lift, so definitely more than good enough for the cam that we've got, which I'll go over in just a moment. These are pedestal mount heads. I went with pedestals. I already had the roller rockers that are pedestal, and there's I don't know if you know anything about SN95s, they have very little clearance for taller valve covers. Taller valve covers will interfere with the throttle body, and I want to use the factory stamped steel valve covers, so I figured pedestals they'll fit better. I think I've seen some guys with SN95s do studs. They make it work somehow, maybe thicker gaskets and doing some changes with the taller valve covers will interfere with the alternator in these cars too. So you run into a mess of problems when you go to taller valve covers, and I didn't want to do that, so I didn't want to mess around with any of that. And this is going to be a street car. It's not going to be going to 7,000 plus RPM or anything like that, so pedestals will be just fine. Spark plugs, recommended by AFR. What are they? Autolite XP3924. I went with the iridium just because I don't like changing spark plugs and these last longer. The camshaft. Okay, let's get into the camshaft. So it's a Steeda number 19 camshaft. Steeda doesn't make camshafts. The thing was originally designed by Crane Cams, before they went out of existence. And it was designed, essentially, it was designed basically for the 94-95. It's got the same lobe separation angle as the stock cam, which will help it to run without a tune really well. The way this car runs, I want it to have no problems, no idling issues, none of that. And I've heard that the 94-95 computer is a little more sensitive to cam swaps, so I went with the cam that's designed specifically for this car. Now, it might not be quite enough cam for those heads, These heads can flow a lot. They keep flowing up to 600 lift, and they make, this cam, it's 480 lift. What are the specs? Let's look at the card. So yeah, 480 intake, 480 exhaust. That's with 1.6 rockers, which I'm using. I could get a little bit more lift if I switch to 1.7s, but this thing's designed for 1.6s, so it doesn't have a ton of lift, but it's got quite a bit of duration. Where's the Duration at 50 on there. Oh yeah, intake 220, exhaust 226. So fair amount of duration for a little cam. This thing's RPM operation is something like 2250 to 6200. So yeah, I wanted to flip that cam operation around. You know how like the stock cam feels? The stock cam feels like, I think feels like a diesel. It's like you get all the power at super low RPM and it just nearly at 5K it runs out of breath, and there's almost no point in revving a stock 5 liter past 5K. Like legitimately, it doesn't get any more powerful. So I wanted to flip that around, and so this cam's RPM range should be good for that. It'll rev right out to 6200 and really start building power somewhere in the 2500 to 3000 RPM range. So that should be good. We are going to get this car tuned, I think, but I wanted it to run. I want it to run right away, not. I need to be able to drive it to where I'm going to tune it. So like putting a cam in with a lower lobe separation angle. I might get more low end power and all of that, but but this one will run, and that's key. The car will run with it. It was designed for this car. Also, with that lobe separation angle, it's good for supercharging. So, you know, I've got head studs. I've got a cam that's good for supercharging. So, in the future, if I want to put a blower on this thing, it's not going to need any changes, really. What else can we get to? We got a bigger fuel pump. It's a Walbro unit. 190 liter per hour, which is more than adequate. I got lots of, you know, all the engine gaskets that I'll be needing, front cover gaskets, a new oil pan gasket, header gaskets, all that crap. You know, all that while you're in there, might as well do it. Mazel do it. Got a new front water pump cover under there somewhere. All new hoses. Any hardware. I gonna replace some of the hardware in there. And yeah, the one thing you don't see here is what I was talking about earlier, is the catalytic converter. I don't have that yet. I will be ordering that shortly, but that'll be a necessity as I'm keeping full emissions, like including the smog pump. And there's no point in having the smog pump if you don't have all the cats. So yeah, I don't have that yet, but I'm going to order it through the magic of editing. I'll put there. There's the part. So yeah, you've seen here the plan, and I gotta get to the dreaded part coming up of disassembly. Isn't that the part that everyone hates? You know, when I did the suspension, it was fun putting the parts on. Oh, but God, taking old parts off is a nightmare. I'm dreading, there's certain things I'm dreading tearing this engine down, and you know, like taking the water pump bolts off and stuff. I don't want to break one of those. So I'm going to be taking my time there, and hopefully I don't break any water pump bolts. That's my biggest fear. But yeah, I'll be disassembling soon, and once I've got the engine torn down here, we'll pop another video on, and you can see what the engine looks like as a bare short block. So yeah, until the next video, peace out.